Well, good morning, everyone. My name is Scott Morris. I am the Director of Business Development for GTS Distribution, which is a really long and fancy way of saying the board game guy. And we are here with one of our best partners, one of my favorite partners, Wizkids. We have Will, we have Eric, and we have Zev. We are going to be talking about a lot of things today. There are a lot of cool things that are currently out right now, a lot of cool things that are coming out in the future. One that I'm personally very excited about is I am a big 4X kind of civilization gamer, and that's going to be something we talk about today. So I don't want to steal all the thunder. I'll let the guys tell you all about that. If you are here watching live, then there is a way that you can interact with all of us. As you always hear me say, everything is on the table. You're welcome to ask any kind of question you like. You can just hover over your video and there's a little chat bubble at the bottom, and you can send a message to either the panelists, which are myself, Eric, Will, and Zev, or you can send a message to all panelists and attendees. Highly recommend to do that, because then obviously all the other retailers get to see your questions. Zev is going to be here kind of helping manage the chat and jump in with some things on there as well. Eric and Will are going to be driving most of the presentation, but by all means, as we go through, if you have questions, do let us know. If you're watching this recorded and we're on YouTube, so this is being recorded right now on June 28th, 2021. If you have questions, feel free to pop them into your YouTube comments below. We'll get back to you as soon as possible on there and get you answers as well. But with that, my face was made for radio. No one came here to hear me talk. They came here to hear you guys talk. So retailers, thank you very much for taking the time to attend. And Will, Eric, Zev, I will kick it over to you guys to get started on things.
Okay, thank you, Scott. Let me just get the slides up here. See those okay? All right. Well, first of all, thank you, Scott, and thank you to the GTS team for having us on. We're really excited to be here. Like Scott was saying, we have a lot of stuff to show you. So we're going to try to keep things moving, but please ask questions. We're here to chat and discuss. Zev will be providing some running commentary in the chat, but we're sort of going to try to take a more conversational approach. So Eric and I will talk through first some of what we have already available to order, and then some of our pre-orders, and then a couple of things that are a little further off later in the year. So let's get right into it. If I can advance the slide. So before we get into the games, a couple of little housekeeping items. You may or may not be familiar with Wizkids, but we actually are kind of like three companies in one. We have three core product lines, one of which is board games, but we also do role-playing game category. We work with the D&D license, Pathfinder license, some other licenses. We do minis, painted and unpainted, all kinds of accessories, and also D&D board games, which we'll get into. And then our third sort of core category is miniatures games, including Star Trek Attack Wing and Alliance, which we'll also touch on here, and a couple others. And as for us on this call, Will, Zev, and Eric, my name is Will Frank. I am the manager for trade marketing and communications here at Wizkids. So I work actually with all of our product teams, quite closely with them. So if you have any questions, consider me your point of contact. I'm here to help, and really email me about anything, anytime. That's my role, is to work with our distributors like GTS. Scott and I talk quite often, and of course with our retail partners as well. And then Zev and Eric head up the board game team, and you can see their emails there as well. And if you have any board game related questions, they're always knowledgeable and ready to answer as well. So a couple of board game specific things we want to make sure to touch on before we get into the games. You may have seen this, but last month we announced that we have increased the discount off of MSRP for all of our games, existing back catalog games, as well as upcoming releases. And we are really excited to be making this change now, this move, which is coming at a nice time for our board game program. But really, this is something that we are hoping and expecting to result in better service, better inventory availability, lower prices, and really help our product be competitive and be easy to buy, easy to stock, and of course, good games, so easy to sell as well. And sort of to take that a step further, I think now is a really exciting time for Wizkids board games. We've gotten to a place where Zev and Eric and the team have put in a ton of hard work over the past few years, and that that product, those games are now hitting the market. So, they've done so much with punching up the overall package, better rule books, better graphic design, better art, better components, card quality, insert quality. All of these things have been considered, and not to say that we're done. We're checking that box, but we've come a long way. We're proud of the product that's coming out now, and it's the result of a lot of dedication, a lot of time and energy, and sort of in concert with those efforts. The team has really honed in on a release calendar that's not just flooded with games, do about one game a month. And the idea is to have a steady, deliberate, thoughtful release calendar, touching on different price points, touching on different genres, different levels of engagement, different themes even. And I think these two things, these efforts combined have really, we've seen them get noticed. We've seen the Dice Tower, Tom Vassell and others specifically call out improved component quality in recent reviews. We've seen awards, Publisher of the Year awards, of course, specific game awards from Dice Tower, from Shut Up and Sit Down, Man vs. Meeple, others, and some resulting BGG buzz. Scott referenced the upcoming Clash of Cultures Monumental edition, which is our Civ game that's coming out. That's a sort of collected, remastered version of this cult hit Civilization game from almost 10 years ago now, and something like that where we've seen great buzz. People are excited. It's been out of print, and another thing that we try to do is sort of build brands. If you're familiar, and we'll of course talk through these games, but Super Skill Pinball 4K was a big hit for us last year, regarded as a great thematic roll and write. Won a bunch of awards. It was great, really successful. And so this year we're doing a sequel. We have more plans to sort of build, even within our overall product line, build product lines where we're seeing success, continue on, learn from it, iterate, be better. And that, the last bullet here, continued investment. I think you'll see that from us as we continue to level up the package, continue to search out fun, fresh designs. Of course, Zev has been known for that for years in the industry, and has certainly continued to do that here. And really, the bottom line is that Zev, Eric, and the team have taken us to this great place. We're not where we want to be, of course, because there's always room to be better. But we're proud of this spot, and we're looking forward to continuing to improve and put out great games. So with that, let's talk about what's on the truck, as Scott likes to put it. What's available now? Of course, we have a really nice catalog of games, but we wanted to touch on kind of some of the essentials of our line. Some of the games that if you have a board game section, and especially if you have any Wizkids board games, these are the ones that you really should have filling out your shelf. And the way Eric and I are going to kind of do this is take a more conversational approach. We'll do a little bit of back and forth. Obviously, Zev is going to be in the chat as well, but Eric knows the games really well, so we'll have a little bit of conversation. But please, by all means, jump in with questions in the chat, any comments you have, and we'll try to keep an eye on those as well. So I talked about awards earlier, and you may or may not know our card game Fantasy Realms, but we are very excited because this was actually just nominated for the 2021 Kennerspiel des Jahres award, which is a very prestigious industry award. And this is something that can be transformative, not only for the game itself, but for a program like ours. So it's a really nice affirmation of the direction that we've had, and we're really looking. Of course, we love this game. And we're really looking forward to the award announcement, which I believe is July 19th. But even if it doesn't win, just to be nominated is a great honor. And we have plans for Fantasy Realms, including the Cursed Horde expansion, which actually just launched. And this is a really nice little addition to Fantasy Realms. But this game is, and Eric will tell you more about it in a second, but it's a fast card drafting, combo building game. You can explain it in 1 minute. Literally, the rules are 3 lines. It has a fun, fantasy theme, and I think it really kind of distills that essence of almost, much more expansive deck building card games where you have a few cards that really fit together, and you build your game around that, and it resets in 10-15 minutes. one other thing I want to point out before I let Eric give you a little more detail is that they're actually, the box is 3 to 6 players, but there's an excellent 2-player variant. So don't overlook Fantasy Realms as a 2-player game. But Eric, anything you want to add on the game and or the expansion?
I think you covered most of it. It's really a phenomenal game. We've thought it was a gem for a long time. Really deserves to be a staple in just about everybody's collection. And we're hoping that now with the Kinderspiel nomination, it's going to really take its place there. If you're looking for a game that gives you, a quick teach and some good strategy in like 15-minute playtime, there's just nothing else better than Fantasy Realms. If you're looking to add a little bit of extra crunch and variety to it, Cursed Horde gives you like just enough to like extra meat to kind of sink your teeth into. As Will said, like it's really quick to learn, but there's so many interesting wrinkles and strategies that you can pursue that like it's perfect for new gamers and experienced gamers to sit at the same table and play. It's great as a quick filler game as you're waiting for everyone to arrive to your game night, but it's also easy to make your entire game night just playing Fantasy Realms 7 or 8 times. So really belongs in just about everybody's collection. Very easy to demo for your stores, like very easy to teach quickly and get people playing. So just an absolutely like wonderful, we think it should be a staple. So make sure to check it out if you haven't.
And just so everybody knows, I put a thing into chat as well on this, but we do have Fantasy Realms on reorder with Wizkids right now. About 75% of those are already pre-ordered. So if you do have pre-orders you want to get in for it, definitely make sure to get them in. Obviously, the Kennerspiel Yard nomination is a big attention getter. So whenever something like that happens, we're not only trying to restock, but we're also trying to work with, getting all the demand from everything going on. So if you have any questions on that, feel free to reach out to your reps, feel free to reach out and do an online order, whatever works best for you, but we'll make sure to get that covered for you. Scott Pittner just said, Scott, the artwork for Wiz 72934 doesn't match, presuming the new reprint will be the new artwork. I will check into that. I'm presuming you're meaning it doesn't match something on our website. So I will check into that. And Will and Eric, I will let you get talking about that.
Might be the original cover.
Yeah, I can answer that. We changed the cover art around like the 4th printing. So all future printings are going to have this cover art. But inside contents are exactly the same.
No worries. I can make sure that we can get that updated on our website then.
All right. Thank you, Scott. So next up, and I referenced this earlier, Super Skill Pinball 4K. This is a pinball themed roll and write that launched last year, and you can see all the awards. This, of course, launching a roll and write into COVID actually turned out to be great because it's a wonderful solitaire game. But it plays 1 to 4, but it really, you can play any number of players because everyone can have their own sheet. This is something we did a demo pad for, so that at retail you could have a paper sheet that you can play the game on. All you need is a pen and one little marker, which is one little token, which is great. This game is awesome. Like I said, it's been regarded as one of the most thematic roll and writes ever produced, and it really does feel like pinball. The way that your token is trickling down the table toward the bumpers, the way that you can tilt and nudge, there are those mechanics. And of course, what's awesome about this package is this is a $25 game, but there are 4 different tables in there, and they each have a different theme. They each have different mechanics that sort of, there's a bit of a complexity curve. So the Carnival, which is up on the screen now, is super easy to pick up and play. But once you sort of get comfortable with that, there are new mechanics to introduce. And like I said, this game was really successful, and this is an example of what we want to do with sort of building a brand. If we see something that people love, Jeff Engelstein, the designer, is great. We'll talk about the upcoming sequel in a few minutes, but we love this game, and we're excited to do more with this line. Eric, anything you want to add in?
Yeah, I think that covers it for now. I'm real excited to share details on the sequel. I love pinball, but I'm very bad at it because I have no reflexes. So being able to play it in a turn-based way and still have that bonus structure and all the interesting ways you can go about it, and all the different tables in this game that give you totally different strategies and ways to score points. It's a ton of variety in this box, almost 4 games in one. So very cool game, a lot of fun. Check it out if you haven't already. And yeah, we've got 2 print and play tables for this one available, a demo pad that we can get to you, and a lot more to come.
Okay, so we've talked kind of a couple of quicker games, but Sidereal Confluence. This is a expansive, wonderful sci-fi themed trading and negotiation game. And I sort of hinted at this earlier, but what I didn't say outright is that, I think our team, Zev and Eric and their team, have done just a really wonderful job of bringing niche designs to the market that people, niche is maybe the wrong word, it's more unique. And this is a game that I think people always wanted, but to be able to give a long, crunchy 4 to 9 player negotiation game, every player controls a unique alien species. This is something that kind of stands alone in the market, and this is something that really found a real dedicated following when it initially released in 2017. The remastered edition came out last year, and we had great response, great reception, and I think it's also a really nice proof point of where we've come as a board game publisher. If you're familiar with the game, if you look at the original, even just the box cover is, we have this wonderful new cover, new art. It's the same game, all the same components, but everything punched up. Even a great insert, which of course, as a board gamer myself, is always appreciated. But Eric, I think you can do a better job of maybe actually talking through what the game actually brings.
Yeah, Sidereal Confluence is a negotiation game. It's really a brilliant take on that entire concept. And if you're a gamer who's into just really kind of unique strategic experiences, Sidereal Confluence really belongs on your bucket list if you haven't tried it already. It's got 9 fully asymmetrical factions that each interact with the game in a kind of unique way. And kind of unique to a trading game, your trading isn't limited to your resources. You can trade entire portions of your economy, your own technologies, even your own kind of faction-specific abilities. You can actually trade to other players. It plays simultaneously. Mostly everything is in that negotiation phase. So whether you're 4-player or 9-player, it's going to have a similar amount of time. Even though, obviously it's very competitive, because you have to trade to succeed, it's a weirdly kind of friendly experience as a negotiation game. You actually feel kind of positively toward each other because you need to find those mutually beneficial trades if you're going to have any chance of actually winning. So really just kind of a unique experience. It looks so cool now. It's great kind of getting into characters, your alien species, and figuring out what you need to do to succeed. It's pretty unique. It's a lot of fun. It's worth trying. And there's more to come in the future, so stay tuned.
Yeah, great. And this one is such a dynamic experience that's totally different, with a different group of players, even a different group of alien species in the game. So I think I really like how Eric says that this is a bucket list game for board gamers. And speaking of bucket list games, I think Mage Knight is another one. And this is, again, something that 2011 came out initially, and it's been a staple at the top of the BGG rankings ever since. And the Ultimate Edition, which is a couple years old now, sort of collects the expansions, collects the characters. And I mean, you can see in that picture just how much is loaded into this box. But if you're not familiar, Mage Knight is a sort of adventure RPG, deck building, hand management game, resource management. There's a lot here. This is a heavy, crunchy game for serious gamers. But again, it provides a very unique experience. It's a wonderful solo game. There are co-op scenarios. There's a lot packed in here. And I think, this is obviously, it's had a great run of success. And I mean, from what we see, that's not changing anytime soon. So, it's a bucket list game. Eric, you want to chime in?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, check it out. It's really just a phenomenal, unique experience. You get so deep into it. There's also a great community online about for Mage Knight. So if you, because it is definitely can be intimidating to get started, but there's a great community that can help you kind of get into it. Lots of videos to check out, lots of different ways to get started. Because once you're into it, it's a lot easier to find the next level, try the next scenario. Add in new elements and really just have a rich, deep, unique experience.
Mage Knight, in my opinion, is also one of the best solo dungeon kind of crawling experiences you can have in the industry. I think it's one of the reasons it's been so successful over the long term is that there's a lot of these like really big dungeon fantasy things, but usually requires you to get the same 2 or 3 people, kind of, or 4 people together, which especially over COVID has been really hard and everything. But Mage Knight has always been that kind of top of the line experience when it comes to solo dungeon crawling.
Absolutely. So I mentioned D&D games earlier, and we have a couple different categories here, from lighter to quicker games to more fully built out campaign style adventures. But I think what we really want to point out here is that if you in your store, if you have D&D books, if you have minis, which may be ours, these games are kind of a natural complement to that. And through Dragon Ante, Eric, I know you always describe this as if poker evolved in the D&D universe, and it's a wonderful betting game, and obviously the theme is great. It's a nice tie-in, and this is even a game in the back of the rule book. We have some different ways you can directly tie it into your campaign. It's something that you as you're going through your campaign, you can imagine your characters actually playing. Eric, you want to provide some additional detail?
Yeah, it's just dripping with strategy and flavor and just phenomenal illustrations. A lot of ways to use different dragons' abilities to outmaneuver and outplay other players and get that and try to get the ante to take. It's a lot of fun. It's a great, phenomenal game on its own when you just want to get a little bit of like D&D flavor and a really fun card game. But it also, as we'll mention, you can play it in game. If you're a DM who wants your players to play in play a card game in a tavern, or they need to split their winnings from their latest adventure, through Dragon Ante is a great way to do that. And yeah, there's special abilities that you get depending on your character's actual abilities to let you role play as you play. So cool game. And through Dragon Ante itself exists in the player's handbook, so your character can carry around their own copy. It's very cool. We're really happy with how it ties together.
And if I'm not mistaken, there are even rules for specific gold payouts for your characters in campaign, depending on the outcome of the game. Yeah, so really fun tie-in. Another sort of nice, quick D&D themed group game is Rock Paper Wizard, which the base mechanic for this game is rock paper scissors, and that might sound odd, but it really works. You get a variety of hand gestures, hand signals you can see on the cards there, where you're defending yourself, you're casting attacks across the table. Of course, the ultimate goal is to hoard the most gold. But this is a really fun, again, unique kind of game, very active, fun group gameplay. And again, the D&D theme is a wonderful tie-in. Eric, anything you want to add here on an expansion maybe?
Yeah, I mean, there's an expansion that gives you even more options and gameplay elements, but it really makes you feel like a wizard, casting different spells at your friends, and what more could you want?
So I referenced the adventure system, and this is a line of 6 larger box games, and we have an expansion coming out that we'll touch on in a couple minutes. But these are wonderful campaign style adventures where we actually include in the box Wizkids premium miniatures, and that's been a really nice selling point for these games. It's the same miniatures that people expect from us and love from us, and then of course you get a bunch of other stuff and rules to play through a campaign. Eric, you want to kind of talk through the system and call out any specific games?
Yeah, I mean, they're all great. As Will said, one of the most cost-effective ways to get a large quantity of thematically connected miniatures to build out your campaign, but also just a great game in its own right. It's got a really solid dungeon crawling mechanics that's a DM free, so everyone plays as a character. If you want to play D&D, but like maybe you don't want to focus on the role-playing part of it so much, this is great because you build out your character with spells and abilities. And then you go through the dungeon, using those abilities to fight and defeat monsters and disarm traps and explore things and tell your own story. Each game has an interconnected campaign where your character can gain XP and grow and improve and get better abilities and get stronger. So really great D&D experience in a box with no DM and like Will said, like lots of just phenomenal miniatures.
Yeah, and I think Zev might have just pointed this out in the chat, but there are standard and premium versions of these games where the main difference is painted versus unpainted miniatures. So we've covered some of our biggest hits, some of our essentials, but that's by no means the end of our line. And there are a couple more things we wanted to talk through here before we get into what's coming. I mentioned Star Trek Alliance and Star Trek Attack Wing earlier. It's a fleet-based ship battling miniatures game set in the Star Trek universe, of course. Star Trek Alliance is the most recent release. It's a 1 to 2 player cooperative campaign. There's integration with Attack Wing, and just wanted to note that well, this game has had a great response, but there's much more to come on this line. Faction packs, base sets. We have plans, and so certainly we know there's some very dedicated fans to Attack Wing. So rest assured, there's more on the way. And then Tournament at Camelot, Tournament at Avalon. These are both trick-taking games, and I know Scott's a big fan of these personally. These have been a really nice hit for us. They're unique trick-taking games in that you're playing cards into the trick, trying to damage other players and be the last, have the most health remaining when the game ends. And there are some kind of wacky special ability cards. It's a great setting for emergent gameplay. The story I always tell is about how my mother-in-law fed my father-in-law a poisoned apple to, of course, great fanfare. Just creates really nice moments. The art and the theme really comes through in a kind of that almost Terry Gilliam, wacky medieval way, Renaissance art. And then Etten is actually by the same designer, and it's another game that provides really fun emergent gameplay. It's really unique. It's 2-player teams, and with one box you can go up to 8 players, so 4 teams, but you can actually expand beyond that. But you really unique concept where each player has 1 ally and 1 enemy, so you sort of build this chain around the table. And fun deck building. So you're collaborating with one person and sort of battling it out with the other. And that's something that released into COVID, and we didn't a group game like that wasn't great timing for it, but we love this design. People who have played it are really enthusiastic about it. So we're planning another push on that. So we wanted to be sure to mention that one. And then CSET, another game that came out last year, a really nice 2-player game, a lot of crunch in a small box format. It's, again, I feel like I'm always talking about inserts, but it's amazing how much we packed into this small format box. It's an awesome molded insert, great components, really nice crunchy gameplay that's sort of condensed into a small box, small footprint, and shorter time frame. Eric, is there anything you want to add on any of these? I know I sort of just ran through them.
Yeah, I mean, they're definitely all worth checking out. Etten is a totally unique experience that, had some bad luck with when it came out, but we're hoping that it still has a chance to really catch on because it's just such a cool, different kind of game. Seastead, I think, is perfect. It's a great, 2-player head-to-head strategy game with a lot of push and pull and a really unique take on a version of the I pick, you choose mechanic. But I would say the best way to position it is if you've got a customer who really likes Seven Wonders Duel or those kinds of head-to-head games, but they're looking for something different with maybe a little bit more crunch and a little more different setup options. Seastead is kind of the perfect game to take that step to. It's really phenomenal. I like a great take on that genre. Really worth checking out if you are looking for that kind of thing. And yeah, a lot of fun Star Trek news coming. So definitely check out Alliance if you haven't already. It's a great way to play the game cooperatively with that kind of a campaign. You do have a captain that improves with experience as you play through the campaign. So a lot of cool features in there worth checking out.
One thing I just wanted to jump in and mention, there was some chatter on it on the chat panel, but just in case everyone's not seeing it, most of the retailers have heard me say this a couple of times in the past, but GTS has over 9 different distribution centers in the United States. And when it comes to the board game side of the business, literally about 85-90% of that comes from three major warehouses. It comes from our Linwood, Washington, our St. Louis, Missouri, and our Jacksonville, Florida warehouse. So if you just kind of draw a line from Pacific Northwest down to Florida, that's pretty much where it all lies in, which makes sense when you think about it in terms of like timing and shipping and everything like that, where, St. Louis, Missouri is in the center of the United States. You can hit like, almost everybody just from there in 2 days, but Florida and Washington help in kind of like the corners of the US, so to speak. If you are looking for any of these games, the D&D board games, the new ones that were just announced, the tournament, Avalon or Camelot, which, yes, those are some of my favorite trick-taking games. If you have trick-taking players in your store and you don't have those, you're making a huge mistake, because they're awesome and you got to have them. But if you're looking through and you don't see something in the warehouse that you're looking at, I would highly recommend checking out one of those three major warehouses, because again, that's where most of the board game stock and inventory is shipped from and shipped out of. If for any reason you don't see anything, definitely let me know, let your reps know, either via email or drop us a call or whatever it is, the easiest way to get a hold of us. Unless Wizkids is out themselves, we can get this stuff. And we try to keep Wizkids on a weekly, bi-weekly restock for everything. So there really shouldn't be an issue. There may be some timing issues where, we may bring in, 100 or 120 on a restock. Those go out and like you're looking on Thursday right before we're ordering on Friday or something like that. But just let us know. We're happy to help, get that stuff moving. Like I said, let your rep know, let me know, and we'll be happy to get things coordinated for you.
Yeah, great. And just one last thing to mention as we sort of transition, we'll talk about some upcoming games, is that, our team talks frequently with Scott and his team. They're well versed on these games. They, are certainly, they have the knowledge, they know the games, they can help you position them, help you sell them. And all these games, this whole catalog is, falls into that category. So certainly be in touch with them.
Yeah, to me, that's one of the most important things I think about Wizkids as a brand, and retailers. If you've been here on previous ones, you've heard me mention several times about brands first and games second. But Wizkids is not two guys in a garage, as I like to say, right? There's a lot of companies like that in the board game industry. And like, Will had mentioned at the beginning, being part of NECA, and this is a big company. Wizkids, what we're talking about today is just the board games. There's so much more to them, between, all of the different miniatures, the unpainted miniatures, the role-playing side of things. There's just so much that's involved here. But this is a company that, depending on what your clientele is like in your store, there's going to be something for your clientele in this catalog. If you have heavy cooperative gamers, there's things like Sidereal. If you have more casual gamers, there's going to be things like that 2-player game, CISA, that we just talked about. There's going to be things for any type or level of gamer in your kind of genre, so to speak. Which I think is really good and really flexible. I know many retailers. In fact, one of the biggest ones that's here in my town in Kansas City has this, but they'll have an entire section just of Wizkids board games, where they'll have like, a 6-foot or 12-foot section, and it's got everything from, the bigger, heavier D&D games on the bottom to some of the later 2-player games at the top and stuff like that. So you got a lot of flexibility with the brand and how you present it in your store and how you merchandise it in your store. But again, just on that last slide alone, several different types of gamers that are, going to appeal to those things, and several different types of things that can do well for you in your store. So just wanted to drop that in.
Yeah, thank you, Scott. So like I said, we want to talk about what's coming. And for this what's on the boat section, we sort of focusing on the next 90 days. So kind of going through September. And there's plenty on the way. Of course, with shipping and logistical issues that everyone is sort of experiencing around the world. Nothing is totally set in stone, but this is sort of what's in the immediate future. And there are a few key highlights here that we want to make sure to emphasize. But even beyond that, there's some really cool games coming out. And like Scott's saying, like we were talking about earlier, we try to have something at every price point, something for every type of gamer. Just build that well-rounded catalog that you, as a store, you can rely on. If you're bringing in the Wizkids portfolio, you'll have that kind of collection. So we mentioned this earlier, Clash of Cultures Monumental Edition. This is coming out in September, and I'll turn it over to Eric. We have a few slides here to talk through in a second, but like I said, this is something that has been highly anticipated. It's been selling on the secondary market during its time out of print for $200, $300, $400. There's an expansion that I think was printed once that has been highly sought after. that is now going to be included in this. This is the definitive edition. It's the whole experience. Of course, the components, the minis, everything punched up. And, it's that classic 4X Civ experience. But Eric will talk through sort of why we really believe in this particular game, and what's so great about it. So Eric, with that said, I'll turn it over to you, and I'll click through as we go along.
Yeah, it really is like the definitive civilization building game. If that's your genre, you've got to try Clash of Cultures. It plays in like 2 to 3 hours, but it's a really dense, rich experience as you build your civilization in just myriad different ways. It's got a great kind of tech tree. The way the player board works is really intuitive, as you kind of fill out different advancements for your civilization. Things very kind of fluidly build into each other. And you also, like, as you expand to this map with these gorgeous illustrations, especially in this new edition, it really tells this great story. It's got now amazing miniatures. I think 350 miniatures, all like with an enormous amount of detail and like richness that kind of immerses you in the world that you're building with your opponents. The cities that you build are actually modular, where you start with a circular settlement, and you can build up to 4 kind of quadrant pieces around it, like a port or an academy or a market, or one of the game's wonders. There's 8 unique wonders that you can build to give your civilization a real like big VP boost, and also a special ability and a very cool kind of gold miniature piece that you can add to one of your cities. Clash of Cultures, what the expansion was Civilizations, which added to kind of like the basic game the ability to start with a specific civilization with thematic abilities to that civilization, and a group of leaders that are historical leaders of that civilization with their own abilities, which just added a lot more kind of variety and immersion into the game. And that expansion was very hard to find, but it's now included along with the Aztec Civilization promo in the box, which makes this really just kind of the definitive full experience. You can see some of the miniatures here for the wonders. They're in a gold plastic with a dark wash that just brings out all these details. So everything looks wonderful. As you build the kind of your cities, they get so much character, and every map looks completely unique. So really cool experience. You're going to want to kind of build your civ over and over again, and just see what kind of story you're going to tell on your way to victory. So very, very excited about this. Yeah, the miniatures look phenomenal. It's just a jam-packed box. It's going to be the size of the Adventure System game boxes, so it should fit well on the shelf. Yeah, we're real excited to get it out there. I cannot wait.
Yeah, and Eric, you talked a little bit about the miniatures, and I have a couple of my slides showing images, but this is again what Scott said a minute ago, going back to we're a subsidiary of NECA. It's not 2 guys in a garage. We, in a game like this, we're able to leverage our other core competency with miniature production. We work closely with NECA's dedicated sculpting team. Our own RPG team does, of course, tons of miniature sets every year. So we're able to really hone in on little details, make awesome miniatures, and pack the box with them. I'll go back to these wonders in particular, because these things are amazing with the detail, with the wash. It's a nice sort of crossover for us to be able to really leverage something that this other area of the company in a way that maybe other publishers can't do. So again, something we've already referenced: Super Skill Pinball, Ramp It Up. This is Pinball 2, standalone sequel, whatever you want to call it. It's the same game system with 4 new tables, and with some kind of cool evolutions of what the first game started. And like I sort of mentioned, Jeff Engelstein, the designer, is he's already working on more tables even beyond this. He had some really cool ideas that didn't make it into the first box that are now coming in here. I'll turn it over to Eric, who can kind of give you a quick run through of the tables. But needless to say, we're excited to build on the success of the first game. We know people are anticipating this one, and we think that these new tables are really going to be exciting for new and existing players. So Eric, please.
Yeah, so it's 4 all new tables, enough for 4 players to play. It's fully standalone, so it's got markers, pinballs, and dice, everything you need to play. And there will be a demo. There will be a print and play of the first table that's coming out over the next week, and a exciting live stream to premiere it. And there's and we're going to have demo pads of that first table available, so people can easily try it out in your stores. And the 4 new tables are phenomenal. They're really exciting, a great evolution of the concept and mechanics. Now every table, Ramp It Up refers to every table now has ramps that take you up into the back glass for kind of an extra bonus area, usually with some extra flippers, just to add some more like variety and detail to the games. Go for Gold is the new starter table that introduces you to the new mechanics and the new kind of flavor. High Roller Heist is a casino heist, like if you're a fan of like casino heist movies. This gets that flavor. You build a crew, you try to hit the casino. It's also only 2 rounds, so it moves faster than your average game of Super Skill Pinball. Jeff, really listened to kind of the feedback and really sort of try to incorporate some new options in Super Skill Pinball Ramp It Up for people who wanted the game to be faster. You've got High Roller Heist. For people who wanted more player interaction, you've got Pin Pals, which might be my favorite table. I mean, they're all amazing, but Pin Pals adds something so cool to the game, which is a teammate. So you're going to play with one teammate. You can either play for a high score or against another 2-player team. And the bonuses that you earn go to your teammate. As well as if you go to a certain area of the table at the same time, you'll get a multiplier if you're both there at once. So you're playing Super Skill Pinball. It's the same game. It's the same speed, but you're constantly talking out loud with your partner to try to coordinate and make sure that you're getting the right bonuses at the right times, you're in the right area of the table at the right time. And it adds just such a cool, like, interactive experience to it that that the first game didn't have. So we're really excited for that. We think people are just going to love it. And then finally, there's Top Speed, which is the new kind of expert level table. It's racing, based on like racing. And what it does is it lets you add a certain number of points to your die roll, like 1, 2, and 3. So you can actually roll 7s, 8s, and 9s. But if you go too fast, you're definitely going to lose your ball. So a lot of cool new strategic wrinkles, a lot of cool new ways to play the game. We're really excited about it. We think fans are going to love it. We think new people are going to really, really dig it. And we think it's just an excellent addition to the series. As Will said, though, there's Jeff is still working. There's more to come, including a Star Trek version on the way, which we're really excited about. So a lot of Super Skill Pinball. We love it. We're real excited to have more.
Great. And as Eric mentioned, print and play table is coming soon, and also retailer demo pads similar to what we did last year for 4K. This is, it's great for in-store demos for that quick pitch. So, when we have a game like that, we want to be sure to support it at the retail level and work with you guys to show it in the best light possible. So more details to come on that as well. Another key release is the D&D Adventure System Ghosts of Saltmarsh expansion. Now, this expands any of those previous Adventure System games that we talked about. And before I give it over to Eric, I want to emphasize again the minis here. This comes with 8 top quality, Wizkids quality Sahuagin Warband minis, which Eric will hold up for you in a second. I'll stop screen sharing. But again, this is great value. People really love it just for this reason alone sometimes. And I think the Sahuagin Warband is going to be exclusive to this box for 6 months once this releases. So this is, that's a really nice selling point. But of course, it's also a new adventure if you're a fan of the existing Adventure System games. So Eric, I know you have some stuff to show, so let me stop sharing so you can have the camera.
Here is the box. As Will said, it's an expansion. So the way it works is you take your hero characters and a bunch of components from any one of the main games and take them on an entirely new campaign. It's a new story and campaign for you to take your heroes on. And the box isn't as deep, but it is the exact same footprint as the other Adventure System boxes. So it's going to, fit right in on your shelf. It's got a lot of amazing new monster miniatures. I can show you. So these are the painted ones that come in the premium edition as kind of the base foot soldiers. We've got Blade Masters. And these are the quantities that you're going to get it in the game too. You've got 2 of these Blade Masters. You've got 1 champion. You've got a sorceress, or I guess it's a high priestess. And then you've got the Baron, just a giant, very cool, very highly detailed figure. And these are the painted ones in the premium edition. If you get the standard edition, You get the same like high detail miniatures. They're just one color plastic. So same great detail, but not painted, but a very good price, and just very, very cool miniatures. And this is the only way you're going to be able to get them for a period. Cool game, great if you dig the adventure system and just want to like have more adventures. The Ghost of Saltmarsh is a great new journey to take your characters on. It uses your heroes. It also uses some monster minis from the other games. If you've got them, you can add them in to give it a more immersive experience. Just a very cool new way to play. It's got a lot of those classic dungeon crawling levels as you explore caves and stuff. But it also has a bunch of levels set in the town of Saltmarsh, which is what you see in the picture there, which is like sort of a setup, which is a very cool way to do some of the missions. So very excited about this one. We think if you dig this, the adventure system, you're going to absolutely love this one.
All right, great. So I think all of a sudden we've only got 11 minutes left in our hour. So Eric, why don't I'll step back and just click through, and we can do a little speed round of some of the other releases that are coming out soon. I know we have one other sort of later in the year highlight that we want to make sure to devote a couple minutes to. So let's walk through what else is coming this summer.
I'm sure. Grease Lightning is a racing game with a modular board and a great push your luck mechanic. Set in ancient Greece, you're racing your boat twice around this whirlpool. But as you go, you can collect favor of the gods tiles, fish to feed the Hydra, but you can also pick up tiles that you can add to the whirlpool. You can see the tiles up there that you can pick them up, put them down in front of you to make your journey easier, or in front of your opponents to make their journey harder. It's got great components, great art, very cool board, at a great price point. So if you dig racing games, this one's really, really fun and a very unique take on it. So, and Kathleen Mercury is amazing. The design is very, very cool. Very excited to have them. And have this really great game from them. So can't wait for people to get their hands on it and start sharing how awesome it is. DJ Jazzy Jeff and the Fresh Prince of Summertime. This is a very cool card game with a very, very fun license. And it's so we're just excited about this one. It's kind of a sort of a mix of like it's got a bit of a rock paper scissors mechanic, but like it's also got kind of a like clever card play mechanic where you're just sort of trying to outthink and outcool people at different locations to collect the best ones to get you the most points. Cool, interesting card game that just really looks. The art is spectacular, so we're very, very excited about this one too. Zombie Princess. This has, I think, a unique art style. It's a mix of medieval and 80s, which I don't think I've ever seen elsewhere. It's a cool, like, kind of tile laying maze game where you play as a knight attempting to get to your key on the other side of the board and get to the castle to escape from the zombie princess before she bites you and turns you into a zombie knight. One of the cool things is that if you do become a zombie knight, your game's not over. You're just now trying to help the zombie princess defeat the other zombie knight, the other normal knights. And what we've done for the standees is instead of using cardboard, we've got acrylic, like painted acrylic 2D miniatures that work perfectly with the game and really let that art shine. So it's just a very cool component that we're really excited to incorporate here. We're hoping to incorporate more board games in the future. Yeah, so it's tile placement, cool maze, and it's a great all ages game. Like we think that if you play with younger gamers, it's a very easy game to grok and very easy to get into. So very excited. It looks very cool on the table. So excited to get this one into your hands. So Turbo Sleuth is kind of a speed deduction game. It's got a bunch of different, a lot of cards with a lot of information on them that you can see there. Every game you flip over 3 of them, and then you've got to figure out based on what that particular game's puzzle is, some kind of solution. You're either looking for the suspect or the murder weapon or the missing piece of evidence or the witness, and each thing that you're looking for has a different set of rules. Either you want something that appears the most often or appears not at all, or appears connected to something that appears the most often. And you want to be the first person to get it. So it goes very, very fast. The earlier you get it, the more points you get. But of course, you've got to be right. If you're wrong, you don't get those points. And often there's kind of an interesting penalty mechanic in it too. So it's a $20 game, 2 to 8 player count. So fits kind of a unique niche, and definitely a cool puzzle if that's something that you're looking for. Free Radicals. This is a really wild, exciting, giant, asymmetrical, very cool game with just phenomenal art style and world building. It's got 10 unique factions that each have their own kind of game that they're playing, the way that they're scoring points. But you kind of group together to research this crazy mysterious object in the sky, and you're trying to research it yourself, but you also get influence and advantages for helping other people research it as well. You also build these buildings that everyone can visit to get some kind of bonus, but also to they give you a bonus when they visit there. So there's a lot of ways that your games interact and connect, even while you're each playing kind of your own mini game on your own faction boards. You can see here we have the executives that are playing kind of a Moncala system as they try to shuffle their assets through different shell corporations. You've got the merchants that have a group of stalls, selling their wares throughout the city. That's kind of an action point sort of system. There's also like dominoes and pick up and deliver and like Tetronymos and like all kinds of different mechanics and different ways to play. It's a very unique game, lots of strategy at the price point. So very excited for Free Radicals. This one's going to be cool. The Quest. This is a unique mix of drafting and drafting like set collection and I pick you choose, which is one of my favorite mechanics. We basically are a junior supervillain trying to get the biggest share of the great Dr. Schism's empire after he passed away. And you're going to collect like gadgets, ray guns, and energy cells, and you're going to get hideouts and like global influence and all these different things that each score slightly differently. You're going to get a hand of 5 of them, and you're going to decide how you want to split it and try to get your opponent to pick the side that you don't want, because you get to keep whatever they don't pick. So you get kind of one set of cards from each side, each neighbor, and you kind of put them together to build out your share of the fortune. Whoever can get the most money by the end of the game is the winner and the true heir to Dr. Schism. So cool game, fantastic art, really a lot of strategy, a lot of kind of unique takes on the mechanics, and very excited about this one.
Okay, thanks, Eric. You can take a breath now. Like I said, we wanted to give a look at a couple things that maybe aren't in that 90-day window, but Dungeon Scrawlers in particular. This is another D&D game. This was just announced on GameSpot. They had the exclusive reveal at the end of last week. This is coming in October or thereabouts, and we are really excited about this one. I'll turn it over to Eric in a second, but this is a great, the D&D license is so good. This is a perfect, quick playing, easy to pick up game for families who have kids, for D&D players who want a little filler at the beginning or the end of a session. But really the game itself, even beyond the license, is wonderful. And I'll let you talk through it, Eric.
So this is essentially a like maze racing game. Each player gets a copy of the maze that has a bunch of tunnels, but also kind of obstacles and things that they can interact with as they go through the maze. So you each start with your marker on kind of that start space and run through it, either casting spells, fighting monsters, collecting treasure or gems, eventually making your way to the boss at the end of the maze. As soon as one player completely defeats the boss, the game ends and you tally up points. So it's not necessarily the first player to defeat the boss, it's whoever gets the most points as they play. So there's a lot of different ways to go, and to add some of that D&D flavor, each player can be a different class that has a different ability that ties in thematically. So like the wizard can cast spells much easier, the rogue steals treasure much easier, but they each have their own kind of unique way to go in. The game has 10 unique mazes, that are each kind of increasing complexity and difficulty and adding new mechanics like keys and portals and time limits, and all kinds of like different takes on the concept. And in a standard game, you're going to play 3 of them in a row, which takes about 15 minutes. You can also just take out and play one game really quickly if you just have 5 minutes and you want to have a really fun, really fast dungeon crawl. This game's phenomenal. Like as soon as we tried the prototype, we just like immediately wanted to play it again and again and again. Like it's so much fun. It's really cool. It's a unique concept. And the look of it is amazing. I love that like graph paper retro kind of style look. The rule book looks like a composition book. It's just a very cool look, very cool take, and we can't wait for people to check it out. This is also going to have a demo pad that's going to have that first level. It's going to have a demo level and a first level that the people can try to get a taste for it. So we can't wait.
And just so retailers know, this was just announced last week. So this is brand new. We did have this set up just on Friday. So it is in the system. May not have images uploaded just yet, just because it is so brand new. But reps were notified about it. We had a discussion with them on Friday, obviously last week. So if you got any questions, they should be able to help you out. But again, if you have questions that you can't get a hold of them for any reason, feel free to reach out to me. We'll get you taken care of. But this one looks really, really cool. I mean, Dungeons and Dragons on its own is already like a super popular brand, and pretty much anything that is, unique and kind of is setting itself apart is something that is already, becoming popular whenever you apply that kind of brand license to it. And like Eric just said, this looks like one of those games that when you see it, like if you have even the closest affinity to the type of theme that it is, you're going to want to pick it up and check it out and play, which is awesome.
And also very easy to teach. Like just by looking at it, you kind of already know how to play it.
Yeah, so perfect for in-store demos, perfect for that setting. And of course, we're excited to get this out in time for the holidays. We're already seeing great traction on this. So I think it's fair to say that reprints will be coming.
Yeah, and Zev just mentioned in chat, he said, please pre-order soon, as I do think our first run may be close to sold out, if not, and a reprint has already been triggered. So that's pretty impressive in this day and age if the reprints are happening before the main thing even gets released. So that's definitely a good thing. But yeah, let us know if you got questions. Happy to help you out with it.
Yep. And then one other late year highlight is Detective Rummy, which is sort of, if you're familiar with Mystery Rummy, it's just kind of the spiritual successor, the evolution, the descendant of that, again, by Mike Fitzgerald. Really nice Rummy style game with a series of 7 different cases, kind of that noir detective setting. Eric, any specifics you want to add in here?
Yeah, it's got really unique gameplay, very kind of already like tested and true, cool take on Rummy and mystery solving gameplay. It's got 7 different cases in it that you can each play individually, or you can play connected as sort of a longer campaign in which your detective story like grows and evolves. So cool ways to play, lots of game in it. I think like there's 5 mystery Rummy games out there, so this adds 7 entirely new ones. So a lot of gameplay, very cool. Very cool take, and we're just really excited to have this evolution of something so much fun.
So as we wrap up here, and I know we're right at time, so thanks Scott for letting us run over by a minute, but want to just emphasize that there's a lot more to come. We've really brought our board game line to this wonderful spot. We talked about brand building. We've talked about with games like Pinball, with the D&D license, of course, we've talked about sort of doing right by great designs that maybe deserve a remastered edition, like with Sidereal, that's already out, with Clash of Cultures upcoming. But of course, we're also we're still making bets. We're still looking and scouting for fun and fresh and innovative designs that fill a niche. And we of course we believe in our games, and we are always looking to give them the push and work with Scott and his team, our distribution channel, but also with retailers. So look for pads and other demo materials to come, other programs. Of course, with upcoming Pinball, we have the demo pad. We will have the demo pad for Dungeon Scrawlers as well. So games that kind of lend themselves to that quick demo setting, get people hooked, get them to play. We'll do our best to support those. And then, of course, we want to also sort of hit the side of influencer video content with reviews, with tutorials. For Pinball, we're going to be having, I think that's in the first week of July, a shut up and sit down stream for Pinball. So we're looking to do more there too, just to help educate the consumers, get the news out there. We believe in our product line. We're proud of where it is, and we are excited about where it's going to go. So stay tuned. Hopefully Scott will invite us back to do another one of these soon. Yes. And we'll be in touch. You know where to find us.
By all means, this is definitely not a one and done. This is something we try to do as quarterly as possible with our biggest partners. I do want to ask real quick, there's been a couple of comments in chat, and I just want to make sure we cover it. In terms of demos or display units or anything like that, I'm presuming it's best for them to reach out to you guys directly. Is that the best thing to do?
Yes, I would say so. We don't necessarily have a ton of firm details to share at this point, but we're definitely working on it and thinking
Sure.
about it. And of course, the specifics will depend on the game, but we always welcome questions and feedback. You know, there's nothing better than hearing directly from retailers about what'll work in their stores and with their businesses. So
Awesome.
certainly we welcome that.
Awesome. Cool. I know a couple people have asked about that. We do have a formal like demo program. I know Wizkids is not part of it, but if you do ever want to get into it, we can easily, get through that and talk through it. But I'm presuming with the size of, where you guys are at, it may be easier for people to just reach out to you directly. So whatever works out best, let us know. Retailers, like I mentioned, while Eric, Zev, and Will's emails are on here, you can always reach out to me and ask any questions. Of course, your sales reps are great starting points from the distribution side to be able to get you details. There's been a couple of mentions in chat. Just want to make sure everybody knows about it, though. We did just put in a very big kind of 6-month restock plan with Wizkids in terms of like stock and items coming into the main warehouses. That's all in motion right now as I speak. So if there's something that, again, you don't see, let us know. We'll make sure to verify that it is on the way or, on the truck, so to speak, coming in. But it shouldn't be a problem on any of that. And again, if you don't see anything in the warehouse localized to you, like if you're looking at Michigan or you're looking at Arizona or anything like that, definitely make sure to check out Washington, Missouri, and Florida, as that's kind of the bulk of where everything is for there. But again, unless Wizkids is out of it, we should not be out of it. So we want to be able to carry that stuff and have it in for you guys and keep it as successful as possible for y'all. With that, though, guys, thank you very much. Really do appreciate the time taking to come and talk to retailers. Again, retailers who are here live, thank you very much for taking the time out of your days to come and have a conversation with us. If you have questions, feel free to follow up with Eric, Zev, or Will with their emails there on the screen, or you can reach out to me. My email is just smorris@gtsdistribution.com. Please do not email the board game guy at gtsdistribution.com. We had a guy do that once. It just kind of went into the ether. It was a very important question, but for some reason he thought that was my email. So that's not it. So but guys, again, thank you all very much. Definitely look forward to having you back on more of these and looking forward to more of the awesome stuff that you guys continue to bring out. With that, thanks very much. Retailers, have a great week in your stores, and we'll talk to you soon. Take care. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much.